Welcome everybody. In this video, we're going to be using Google Forms, which is a service by Google where you can make surveys and other types of interactive web-based collection devices. So I'm just going to type into the browser the word Google Forms, and I click on this little blue box to bring up my Google Forms. I'm already logged in under my account. Um, if If you didn't get this screen, you may need to log into Google. I also have a lot of forms that I've already developed from doing this assignment in the past. You would likely have blanks at the bottom, but you would still have these templates to get started in the front. You can see that they have a few pre-designed forms, event registration, party invite, RSVP, that kind of thing. Um, Google Forms are kind of a useful thing for personal use and maybe club or semi-professional use. Anything where you need to collect some information from a group of people online. So we're just going to use the blank form. So I'm going to click on this little plus icon, and you can see it dives you right into making the question. Here at the top where it says Untitled Form, and also up here on the upper left, you can give your form a name. So backing up a second before I go into more detail on Google Forms, um, what I'm going to do in this example is create a survey to measure um, student success with in terms of Hoff Dining Hall. Student satisfaction with Hoff Dining Hall. So I'm just going to give that a name, Hoff Dining Hall. I'll call it market research. After I give it a title up there, if I click the untitled form in the upper left, it automatically transfers the name of the survey. And now I'm ready to begin just typing questions to my survey. You can see up here by this drop-down box, you have a number of different predefined ways to create surveys. So short answer versus paragraph, multiple choice, um, drop down is another good choice. Linear scale is one that I'm going to choose here. The difference between multiple choice and linear scale is linear scale gives you a numerical response. So if, say like on a scale of 1 to 5, how well do you like Hoff Dining Hall? That would be a linear scale. Multiple choice would be text labels like poor, good. So they're kind of similar, but the linear scale is what I'm looking for my survey. So when you create survey, it's good to have the highest quality data possible. You can do more with numbers than you can with text responses. So you can do things like averages and correlations, everything you do in your stat class. We can do things with the labels too, but just not quite as much. So anyway, the first question I'm going to have is the one that I just described. How satisfied are you overall with Hoff Dining Hall? And I'm going to have a linear scale where 1 is very unsatisfied and 5 is very satisfied. Now you notice that I capitalized the overall word in there. That's just because I'm going to have a number of questions that are kind of similarly phrased. So now that I have this first one done, if I want to see how it's going to look to the user, I could click this eyeball, and you can see how the surveys end up being rendered to the web page. So now I'm going to click this button to make a duplicate of it because I'm going to have the exact same scale, but rather than overall, I'm going to change the capitalized word to food quality. And now I'm going to duplicate it again and ask a couple more similar questions. And so I'm going to have like 5 of these questions. Okay, so I'm finished with my linear scale questions. And now I'm going to add a couple different types of questions. So I'm going to click this plus button to add a new question. And I am going to have a multiple choice this time. And I'm just going to ask the gender of the person. And Google has as we all know, Google's kind of smart. So they recognized that I was looking for the gender, and they gave me kind of a predefined way to design that. So I'm going to go with their default, and now I'm going to ask another one. What is your year in school? Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I'm going to add an option for graduate student and add an option for faculty staff. So lastly, I'm going to ask one more question, and this one is going to be an essay or a short answer. And I'm just going to collect some kind of free-form response. I'm going to type in a few words, how would you describe Hoff Dining Hall? So in business analytics and information systems, we we mostly deal with numbers, so we can analyze just like we did when we went through the pivot table analysis early in the semester. There's also ways to analyze free-form text data. So a lot of companies are getting information from social media or Twitter, Facebook, and analyzing different unstructured responses and providing value to companies based on their descriptions of different things. Um, but anyway, this is my survey. So I'm finished entering the questions. If I hit this preview button again, you can see it's pretty much good to go as it is if you wanted to leave it like that. Um, if I wanted to change it at all, they have these. You could insert a header or change the colors if you want. You could change the font style to something else. Another thing you could do is choose an image for the header. Um, so this is food and dining, so I could go down to maybe something that looks a little bit like a dining hall. Not sure which one to choose. And I'll look at my survey again, and I'm pretty much done with it now. It's always good to proofread it, like have somebody look at your survey, make sure the questions make sense before you launch it. Now, when you're done, let's say I'm satisfied with the survey, I'm ready to release it. I would go back to my original document here that where I was designing it. Um, and I would click the send button. Within the send button, you have the ability, the first default is email, but what I like to do is click on this link icon, and this generates a web address. You can also click the shorten URL button. And now at this point, I'm ready to um, copy that address, and once I have it copied, I can paste it and people can answer it. So I'll go ahead and answer one myself. I think the food and the selection are pretty good. The service is good. The hours seem all right. The cost is a little expensive. Okay, so once you get a response, let's say you had taken that link and texted it to your friends or put it on Twitter or emailed it to people just by copying and pasting it. Um, so eventually, I'm going to get totally out of Google Forms and get back into them. So I'm pressing this blue button again. And here's a survey that I just created. Here's one that I had created in the past. It's really similar. But you can see when you have responses, like this survey has 29 responses, you see the number there. And you can click over to the responses tab and you get a summary of your results. But there's also this green icon in the upper right side of the page. And if you click on that, you can see your raw data in a spreadsheet. And what I want you to do is take this raw data, click on File, Download as Excel to get the results of your survey in an Excel format. So I'm going to click on Save, and from there I'm ready to begin the analysis, which will be our next video. Okay, so that concludes this video. Thank you for watching.